Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Walter. I'm going to be teaching you today how to make these snow globes, and we're going to improvise. That means we're going to figure out different ways to do this because we all have different materials either at home or at school. So first things first, if you were at school, I would give you one of these cardboard rounds. They're called, it's almost like a pizza round that I would have ordered and given to you. Clearly, we can't do that this year. So in order to make these, we have to paint the background sky for our snow globe. We have to make our city or houses. Most of the time we're going to try to do some cities to get more than one building in the picture. You could go with a neighborhood theme. And then you can add on anything else you might have with you, like a little bottom to make it look like a snow globe, some glitter or glitter glue if you have some. So starting with basic materials, if you are at home and you can run and get yourself a paper plate, that would work well. One side of your paper plate's usually shiny, so the paint doesn't always stick to this. So you would use the other side, okay? If you don't have a paper plate, that is fine too because paper works perfect. We would need 2 pieces of paper that you can rip right out of your sketchbook from school. So you would need 2. One is going to be the sky, okay, the colors of the winter sky, which we're going to use cool colors, wintry colors, purples, blues, greens. And then we're going to do the opposite for the buildings. The buildings are going to be done in warmer colors, okay, and that's the opposite side of the rainbow or the color wheel. Okay, so we're going to do cool colors and warm colors. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's all put together, but at first it takes us a while. So whether you're using paper or a paper plate, you're going to want to wake up your paints by dripping some water on them. And because we are doing the sky, we talked about using cooler colors. You don't need to use all of them. I'm just going to use some purple for mine. Again, I'm looking for a wintry sky. So for me, I'm going to use some purples and some blues. I'm going to go right down to the edge. I'm actually going to move this paper because I don't want to paint on it. I need it to make my warm colors. If you want it to be a darker sky, you could add a little bit of black. Be careful with the black though, it's strong. I like to have a lot of blue for my winter sky. And it's just the sky, it's the background, it's behind the city. It's going to be our snow globe city. And you can think now while you're painting what city you want to do. New York City, Paris, Los Angeles, Chicago. Maybe you just want to do a neighborhood. Maybe you want to put your house in the snow globe and your friend's house. Maybe you just want to make it up. And that's fine too. So I've got this sort of galaxy looking theme going here. I'm going to put a touch of green towards the bottom just to get a nice sky. Okay, now if you had some glitter, you could put some glitter in there. You can get fancy, especially if you're at home. Okay, if you're at school, it's a little harder. So I've got this plate that I used. Again, if it's paper, that's fine too. Whether it's paper or a plate doesn't matter. You still have to put it to dry. And then your second piece of paper is the warm colors. And you can see on here, you're just going to paint different lines of warm colors. So any of the warm colors is fine. If you have pink, any of the oranges, if you want to mix anything, okay, you can do that. And you're just doing sort of not actual stripes, you just want to do different areas of color so that when you're ready to cut this out, you have different areas. So I don't want to take too long to do this. I'm making sort of like a yellowy orange here. And you know, if you get another color in your paint, you can always just use a napkin or a paper towel and dry it. So I would paint all the way across, and so would you, so that it would be completely finished. So once you have your sky and your building area, we're going to let it dry. Okay, we'll probably go to the next art day, which is fine. And then you could take your Sharpie marker, or if you want to just use a regular marker or pencil, and you would start designing some buildings. Okay, and that's what we were doing on here. We were just designing what would kind of make us think of some skyscrapers, which were very tall and thin. Okay, they tend to have many, many windows, whether they're apartments or offices, all different things for your city to have. And the buildings can be narrow, which means thin. Put a little satellite on top. Be careful adding too much because you do have to cut these out. And they might just have dashes, and that's fine too. That could represent windows. And you're going to want to go all the way down on these. You could do clock towers. Okay, so this one might be a little bit wider. And it might have the clock tower in it. Okay. My marker's running out on this one, but I can show you firsthand because we will be cutting these out. Okay, so once you draw your buildings all the way across, you just grab another black. I would continue to draw, and this takes time. Okay, you don't want to be super fast. And you can do famous landmarks. Okay, this one, the student, she did the Eiffel Tower and the arch that's in Minnesota, and then she sort of has these high-rises and things like that. You can make them more or less three-dimensional if you want, so it looks like the corner of a building. And you're just going to go right across your page. You don't have to be really tall. They can be different sizes, different shapes, different designs. So I'm just turning my paper. This is sort of making it look, I'm just following these lines, a little bit more three-dimensional perspective. Okay, you might have, you know, doors, so you want to spend some time making this look real. Okay, and designing it however you want. You make as many buildings as you can, and then we will cut them out just simply as strips of paper. That's it. And we're going to glue them on to the background. And you can use your glue stick. Sometimes they're a little bit big, and that's okay. You can go right across yours however you see fit. And let me just grab so when you're ready, when we glue them on, we will trim the edges. But you want to place them first. You don't want to glue them on right away. Okay, so I might cut a few more, line them up. So I'm just cutting. Okay. I'm not going to use all of them. I'll pick the ones I want. I did not finish drawing mine, obviously. You will finish drawing yours. You do not have to fill the entire plate. If you're not using a plate and you're just using a piece of paper, that is fine too. Let me just show you what that would look like. I'll use the back of this. So if you're just doing your paper, you would line them up on the paper however you want them to go across. Okay? If you're using the snow globe effect and you have it round, you cut out your paper, or you could trace a plate, right? Maybe you have a dinner plate at home and you want to trace it. You could trace it and then paint it. Get ready to glue those on. Figure out a way, and it's okay if they hang off once you like them, we're going to put our glue on there, and then you could trim around the bottom. Okay, once you glue it on there, then you would trim around the bottom. You don't want to trim it first, because what if it's the wrong size? And you don't have to go exactly to every edge. You could even leave a space. Just use your glue stick that's in your packet. You have these little glue sticks right here, so just use those. Mine isn't exactly dry, so I don't know, oops, if it's gonna stick or not. Okay, leaving a little space. So try to get, I would say 4 or 5 on there. That one might be a little taller for me. And like I said, once you have it glued on there, then you would go ahead and trim. You can actually turn it upside down. Give it its massage. A little massage. Then you could trim it. Okay, I didn't glue it perfect, but you get the idea. Okay. I have to glue mine a little bit more. Okay. Now, you could add glitter glue. You could cut out a shape to glue on to make a base if you want. A base would be just sort of a triangle of color that you might want to cut out and glue at the bottom so that your snow globe has, you know, an area to sit on. Okay, if you don't have a lot of materials at home, another option inside your sketchbook, again, you can just trace a plate. You could draw a snow globe. That would still allow you to follow what we did by painting the sky. Okay, so just because you don't have all the same materials does not mean you can't do the lesson. So this would be drawing right in your sketchbook. You wouldn't even have to tear it out. But you would need to have that second sheet of paper we talked about. So while this one dried, okay, I would have my second sheet of paper, which I'll just tear. So out of your sketchbook, you always have to have 2 pieces of paper. I would paint this one with my warmer colors, and that would be for my building. So you're still going to do the same lesson. It's just different ways for you to do it. So again, you can draw it right in your notebook. You can trace a paper or use a paper plate. You could use round paper. You could draw it right in there. There's many ways to do it. And all we did was have some fun drawing some buildings with a marker and putting them in our snow globe. Okay, so have some fun with this. I can't wait to see what you come up with.